What should men hold back in a relationship? Let me ask you something, and I want you to really think about it. Are relationships strengthened by total openness, or is there something valuable, even necessary, about holding certain things back? In today's culture, there's a prevailing belief, almost a dogma, that true intimacy demands complete and unrestrained transparency. Tell your partner everything. Lay it all out on the table. Your fears, your frustrations, your expectations. And if you don't? Well, some would say you're being dishonest, or worse, manipulative. But here's the truth. Relationships are far more delicate and complex than that. Love is not a floodgate where every thought and feeling must rush through unfiltered. Instead, love is a process, a deeply human, deeply meaningful process where vulnerability is something that is earned and revealed gradually. So, we need to ask a crucial question. What should men, in particular, learn to hold back in a relationship? What must they withhold? Not out of fear, shame, or deceit, but out of wisdom. Because wisdom is knowing what to share, when to share, and how to share it. Today, I'm going to share 3 secrets with you. 3 things men must keep to themselves, at least for a time, if they want their relationships to flourish, not fail. 001. Ladies and gentlemen, now let me ask you something, and I want you to really think about it. Are relationships strengthened by total openness, or is there something valuable, even necessary, about holding certain things back? In our culture today, there's a prevailing belief, bordering on dogma, that intimacy requires complete and unrestrained transparency. It sounds noble, doesn't it? Tell your partner everything. Lay it all out on the table. Your fears, your frustrations, your expectations. And if you don't, well, some would say you're being dishonest, or worse, manipulative. 030. But here's the thing, relationships are far more delicate and complex than that. Love is not a floodgate where every thought and feeling must rush through unfiltered. Instead, it's a process, a deeply human, deeply meaningful process where vulnerability is earned and revealed gradually. So the question we need to ask is, what should men, in particular, learn to hold back in a relationship? What must they withhold? Not out of fear or shame or deceit, but out of wisdom. Let me share 3 secrets with you. 3 things men must keep to themselves, at least for a time, if they want their relationships to thrive. Story 58. First, let's talk about insecurities. Every man has them, those nagging, gnawing voices in the back of your mind that tell you you're not good enough, not strong enough, not capable enough. And the modern world? It will tell you to share those feelings, get them out in the open, right away, be authentic. But here's the harsh reality. If you unload your insecurities too early in a relationship, or worse, if you expect your partner to soothe them for you, you risk undermining the very thing that attracted her to you in the first place, your strength. 126. I'm not talking about the kind of strength that denies vulnerability. No, that's just arrogance dressed up as resilience. I'm talking about the strength that comes from self-awareness and the willingness to confront your own demons before expecting someone else to help carry them. You see, men are problem solvers by nature, and that includes solving their own problems. When you reveal your insecurities to your partner, especially before you've worked through them yourself, you shift that responsibility onto her. You turn a lover into a caregiver, and that's a dynamic that can quickly erode the romantic foundation of a relationship. 152. This doesn't mean you never share. It means you process first. When you come to your partner and say, "This is something I've struggled with, and here's how I'm working through it," you're inviting her into your journey, not dumping the weight of your emotional baggage onto her shoulders. And that's a form of respect. Respect for her, respect for the relationship, and respect for yourself. 215 next. Let's address emotions. Now, I know what you're thinking. Isn't it good to be emotionally open in a relationship? Isn't that what vulnerability is all about? And yes, it is, but not in its raw, unfiltered form. Here's the problem. Emotions are like wild animals. They're powerful, unpredictable, and, if left unchecked, destructive. And when a man allows his emotions, especially the unprocessed ones, to dictate his actions, he risks destabilizing not just himself, but his entire relationship. 246. Let me give you an example. Imagine you've had a bad day at work. You're frustrated, you're angry, and you're carrying all that tension home with you. Now, you could walk through the door, unload all that chaos onto your partner, and expect her to make sense of it, or you could take a different approach. You could recognize that your emotions are yours to manage. You could take a walk, hit the gym, or sit down and reflect on why you're feeling the way you're feeling. And when you're ready, when the storm has settled, you can share those emotions with your partner in a way that invites connection rather than confusion. Because here's the thing, your partner doesn't need you to be emotionless. She needs you to be emotionally grounded. She needs to know that you can handle the storms of life without dragging her into the chaos. 339. This isn't suppression, it's discipline. It's the ability to create a space of stability where emotions can be shared thoughtfully rather than unleashed impulsively. Finally, let's talk about expectations. Every man, whether he admits it or not, enters a relationship with certain preconceived notions about what his partner should be. Maybe it's an image shaped by movies, books, or cultural ideals. Maybe it's a list of traits you think a perfect woman should possess. But let me ask you this. What happens when your partner doesn't fit that mold? What happens when the reality of who she is, flawed, complex, human, collides with the fantasy you've been carrying in your mind? If you're not careful, those expectations can turn into chains. Chains that limit not only her growth, but yours. 434. You start to see her not as a partner, but as a project. Someone to fix or improve until she fits your vision of perfection. But relationships aren't about perfection. They're about discovery. They're about learning who the other person really is and allowing yourself to be transformed by that discovery. 502. So what's the solution? You withhold. You set those preconceived ideals aside and approach your partner with curiosity rather than judgment. You let the relationship unfold naturally, giving her the freedom to be herself and giving yourself the opportunity to grow alongside her. Because when you let go of the need for perfection, you make room for something far more valuable: connection. 529. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Isn't withholding dishonest? Isn't it a form of hiding? And the answer is no. Withholding, when done with intention and respect, is not an act of deception. It's an act of love. It's recognizing that relationships are not built on raw, unfiltered transparency. They're built on trust, patience, and the willingness to grow, both individually and together. When a man withholds his insecurities until he's worked through them, he's showing respect for his partner's emotional space. When he regulates his emotions before sharing them, he's creating stability. And when he sets aside his expectations, he's opening himself up to the beauty of discovery. So I'll leave you with this. What are you holding back in your relationship? And is it an act of fear? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if this resonated with you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content like this. Let's continue this conversation together.